When we think about Palestine, images of violence and partition might come to mind. We often forget about the humanity and progress that the state and its people continue to strive for. Palestine is full of colour, life and an energy that is unsurpassable and admirable. But there are challenges. Everyday life has been altered by conflict, from barricades to body counts. The reality for Palestine is one of injustice. As part of a mission with my work in the European Parliament on the Delegation for Relations with Palestine, I got to experience the country, its circumstances and its people for myself. And I want to take you with me on a journey to the heart of the Middle East. This was once a busy shopping street in the centre of Hebron, a city in the south of the West Bank. Hebron, or Al-Khalil in Arabic, is the site of the tomb of the patriarchs and the matriarchs, where Abraham and Sarah were believed to be buried. It is this religious significance, importance for Jews, Christians and Muslims, that has led to a unique tension and situation on the ground. The centre of the city is now split into essentially two different areas. Shops have closed, windows and doors have been boarded up, and patrons have disappeared. For older markets that operate below street level, it's business as usual, with a gorgeous array of crafts, ceramics and locally produced foods available. One major oddity was present, however: the protections over streets in place to stop settlers throwing waste on the Palestinians below. Family enterprises of intricate crafts and delicate homemade foods were present throughout the markets of Palestine. But more modern and empowering social enterprises were finding their roots too. I meet Enes Dejani, an activist and jewellery maker who designs jewellery shaped like parts of the female anatomy. Can you tell me about your earrings?
This earring is talks about the ovaries. We think that the ovary is just a circle,
Yeah.
but it's in fact a very naturally looking as clusters of grapes.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to show it off and to show women that this is how the ovary looks.
It's
And
they're really beautiful.
yeah, they
They're
are.
really
They
special.
are, and they also look as a flower. Sometimes they see it as a flower as well. So
I suppose in a way it's like we are part of nature, and
Of
then when you
course.
look at all of the
in every
different
piece,
designs, your
in every piece,
designs like here is so beautiful
Yes.
as well. We are just a part of nature on this great planet Earth. I visited the Palestinian Institute for Biodiversity and Sustainability, a faculty of Bethlehem University. The institute was set up by Dr. Mazin Kumsia and his wife Jessie, and after teaching in the United States and raising their family, the couple returned to Palestine in 2008. The beauty of the centre and its exhibits adds to my understanding of what it means to be Palestinian. Mazin, Jessie and their team have a deep love of their work, which almost exists as a form of resistance. Mazin's medical background acutely diagnoses what has happened in the region in the past 100 years.
Zionism is basically an idea that says that Palestine, which was multi-ethnic, multicultural, multi-religious community, even 44 languages spoken before 1948, that this country should be transformed to become the Jewish state of Israel, with the Jewish control of everything in the country. So this is what transformed the country basically, and this is what Zionism is. By definition, this is settler colonialism, and what we have in Palestine is that 8 million native indigenous Palestinians are now refugees or displaced people, and the others are kept in Bantustans or ghettos. This is the essence of the problem or the diagnosis.
The word apartheid is often used or avoided when talking about the occupation of Palestine. North of Ramallah, I visited the village of Nabi Salah, where water access has been cut off and restricted for local residents. Across the valley, they can see the settlements of Halamish, where water flows freely without limits. This village has had its main water access restricted. It's now only open to settlers, and while after years of campaigning, an alternative pipe was built for the village, its flow is low and can be cut off at any point by Israel.
فيها للسياحة مثلا إنه يمشوا
Legally, this is Palestinian land, but on ground, this is controlled fully by the Israeli settlers. They can't even go and have fun and just for fun to use the lands. They can't.
The issue of wastewater treatment also explained to me in the nearby town of Salfit. A new wastewater treatment plant has been built by Palestinian authorities with the support of German financial aid, which should lead to a healthy environment and local landscape. Untreated wastewater from the nearby settlement of Ariel, however, pollutes the local rivers, leading to real health issues for local Palestinians living downstream.
So we began to see after that kidney failures, we began to see cancer cases, and also related to environmental issue, Naji, just forget, I think. You see the blue building down right there. It used to be a leather manufactured factory, and all the chemical substance used to go down to the village. So we began to have like skin diseases, we began to have even sometimes kind of diseases that they couldn't find or medicine for the.
Not only are illegal settlements being built on Palestinian land in the occupied territories, but their existence is harming the health of locals without any repercussions internationally. I met with activists and people living in the area who explained to me that on certain environmental issues, there simply are no alternatives available to Palestinians. Trade is largely controlled by Israel, and economic sanctions mean that basic services like rubbish disposal and recycling are not well funded. For many villages, there is no option to dispose of rubbish other than burning it. Palestinians are effectively being locked out of environmental action, but that's not all. What Palestinians are prevented from doing, the Israeli government see it as an opportunity to benefit extracting natural resources from the people and the land they are settling on. Okay, so I'm here on the green line separating the West Bank from Israel, and you can see behind me there's a fossil fuel terminal. So the Israeli government are actually pumping up fossil fuels from this terminal. The concerning thing is it's right on the border. This land used to be Palestinian, and now the Israelis are literally stealing this resource. And now we have in Europe a trade deal, or a recent trade deal, importing fossil fuels from Israel. And my question is, do we really want to take stolen goods into Europe from the occupied territories? I never knew how close the violence would come to us when we visited Palestine. During a meeting with the Prime Minister Mohammed Shataya, he received a memo stating that 7 people had been killed in the city of Nablus in a raid in broad daylight, a city we were due to visit the next day. The more I talked with people on the mission, the more my eyes were opened to how commonplace this issue is. Almost everyone had a negative direct or family experience with the occupation. South of Hebron, near Masfer Yatta, A village that in 2023 has been threatened with eviction and demolition. I heard one of the most devastating stories of my trip. I'm just here on the South Hebron Hills. I just heard a harrowing story from a Palestinian mother whose young son, 24-year-old, died just last week. About 2 years ago, he was protecting their homeland, their house, in fact, and the settlers attacking, and he was badly assaulted and left with disabilities in a wheelchair, and just very, very sad and tragic, died just this week. Haroum Abu Aram's home was destroyed by settlers. In response to the attack, UN funding allowed a new home built to accommodate Haroun's wheelchair, just built before his passing. His mother's love for him was clear to me when I spoke to her, but he would eventually succumb to his injuries. It doesn't matter where you're from or what language you speak. Every parent knows the fear and pain that comes with the loss of a child. It was at this point that it became clear to me what the results of Israel's actions are. Land grabbing, destruction, death. My final stop was with Isa Amro, a non-violent activist living in the center of Hebron. Isa is said to be the most arrested man in the occupied territories, but the reason for his arrests might raise eyebrows to you or me.
Don't touch me!
Hey! Leave him! Isa was arrested for merely existing as a Palestinian and refusing to move from his home.
I mean, what can we do in Ireland or European Parliament? You were talking about the amnesty report.
Yes, I want to thank all the people in Ireland and in Europe who are standing with the Palestinian rights according to the international law. We want them to make the occupation costly and do concrete actions. And one of the actions we want the international community, especially in Ireland and in the European Parliament, to recognize amnesty report about saying that Israel is committing an apartheid crime here. As B'Tselem, as Yeshdin, as Human Rights Watch, it's all the Al-Haq, all the human rights organizations, the big ones, said that Israel is doing an apartheid. Why it's apartheid for me? I am under the Israeli military law here without any basic human rights. Non-violence, this is not allowed. I am guilty until I am proven innocent. I was arrested many times without any reason. The settlers who are living here, my neighbors, are under the Israeli civilian law. When you have two sets of law in the same area for different people, I want the Europeans, I want the Irish people to describe it as it is, without politics. It's apartheid. So I want Israel to be labeled as an apartheid state.
I'm just going to say this again. When two people are living side by side and treated differently in the eyes of the law, one by Israeli military law and one by civilians, that is apartheid. In Ireland, we have a saying, Ní léinn Tinteán mar a Hinteán féin. There's no hearth like your own hearth. There's no place like home. In Palestine, as land grabs and hostility grow on land that once belonged to Palestinians, we in the European Union should be called to do something about the apartheid state that has been created by the Israeli regime. No more cozy trade deals, no more trading with illegal settlements, no more turning a blind eye to human rights abuses and disregard for the rule of law. In 2022, 204 people have died in Palestine at the hands of the Israeli military. There is blood on the Israeli government's hands, and we cannot be seen to let them wash their hands of it.
Corruption and internal violence. It's all because of the PA.
This makes it so much more complicated.
Yes.